It's end of the line, James. You have failed everyone around you. Your parents, your mentor, your friends. Even for all your pluck, you could save a single one. And now you will die. Unknown, unloved, and alone.
Today we are diving into the origin story of James Bond and the challenges he faces as he begins the journey to becoming the ultimate spy. Everything Bond believes about sacrifice, duty, and honor is put to the test as the road ahead pushes him further than ever before. When the pressure mounts and the cost becomes personal, will he continue to fight forward, or will he once again walk away? The story of First Light genuinely surprised me. At its core, it explores a version of Bond that is still being shaped by failure, loss, and difficult choices. It presents a man determined to keep moving forward no matter the cost, because sometimes doing the right thing means sacrificing everything. Our story begins in Iceland, where we find a young Royal Navy air crewman doing a routine mission assisting the British Special Air Service. However, a missile takes down the chopper, and the only survivor is James Bond. As he wakes, he realizes the enemy is right above him, and he quickly moves through the area to find cover. However, his communications is hacked by MI6, who inform him that as the sole survivor, he is their only chance at retrieving something highly classified. MI6 walks Bond through what he must do. Bond heads to a crash site where the object MI6 is after is believed to be. However, once Bond enters, he begins to hallucinate and feel confused. It's revealed that he has been exposed to a nerve agent and he needs an antidote. And fast. He finds one and uses it. Sometime later, he wakes up and exits the crash site. His mission for MI6 is now over and he is told to vacate the area. However, Bond locates survivors, but MI6 tells him to leave them as they are not his priority. But Bond insists, and MI6 warns him that he has less than 1% chance of success rate, which Bond believes that's enough. Eventually, James Bond frees all prisoners and creates a distraction to escape. As Bond and the rest of the prisoners make a run for it, they are cornered by the shadowy PMC who took down the chopper at the beginning. They tell Bond that they know MI6 won't allow him to blow anything up as they need the asset at the crash site. But Bond lets them know that he isn't MI6 and proceeds to blow everything up. A month later, James Bond is called to MI6 in London to discuss the incident that occurred in Iceland. Upon his arrival, he meets Moneypenny, the familiar voice who guided him in Iceland. She takes him to see M, the person that is the head of MI6. James Bond meets with M and she informs him that she is reviving the 00 program, which are top-tier field operatives who have earned a license to kill, enabling them to execute lethal missions at their own discretion to protect national security. She offers him a place to join as she was impressed with his abilities in Iceland. She believes he would make a great spy. However, the training program that he must join is already 6 months ahead, and the training is grueling and notoriously hard. Bond accepts and Moneypenny sends him to Malta, where he meets John Greenway, a former 00 agent who is now the program's instructor. However, Bond realizes that Greenway has a strong dislike of him, and he believes that he shouldn't be a part of the program as he lacks the discipline to be there. He believes that Bond will eventually get bored and leave, which is not the type of character that he believes should garner the responsibility of being a 00 agent. Bond quickly accepts the challenge and meets the other 6 recruits. Greenway puts Bond up against Monroe, one of the 00's best trainees, and he gives Bond a good beatdown. And much to Monroe's anger, he is put in charge of helping Bond catch up alongside another trainee named Cressida. Bond's training begins, but not without Monroe telling him what he really thinks. Monroe believes that Bond got there with the help of the higher-ups, and he doesn't deserve a place among them. But after months of training and working alongside each other, Bond, Monroe, and Cressida begin to form a friendship, and Bond proves himself to Monroe and the rest of the recruits. After basic training, Bond returns to London for a performance review. However, M tells him that Greenway has recommended that Bond is cut from the program. Bond, disappointed, accepts his fate. However, M takes him to the lower levels of MI6, where she shows him their biggest weapon against any threat, Thea, a one-of-a-kind quantum computer who synthesizes millions of data streams instantly to make statistical deductions on issues of national security. Thea was the one that gave Bond a less than 1% chance of success in Iceland. M shows him all of this because Bond has proven to her that modern spycraft still needs heart and intuition, which is exactly what he possesses. So she will not be cutting him from the program, and she will be moving him into advanced training where he will be going back and forth between Malta and London for the next 6 months. to officially become a 00 agent. Bond heads to Q lab and meets Q, who gives him a Q lens and a Q watch, which is a requirement for all 00s in the field. After this, Bond heads to his new apartment, which he will be sharing with Monroe and Cressida, provided by MI6, of course. On his way in, Bond meets Foreign Secretary Stephen Bright, who is revealed to be the father of Cressida. For the next few months, Bond and the rest of the 00 trainees continue their training, and eventually one night, when in London, they decide to go clubbing to blow off some steam. However, Greenway sees this as a perfect opportunity for a field test, so their night out turns into a work night. And after the field test is complete, Bond and Monroe get chewed out by Greenway for being late on the evac, which was caused by Bond getting into an altercation with one of the people inside the club and Monroe staying back to help him. The following day, the MI6 recruits are called into M's office, where she tells them that she is suspending exams and sending the recruits on an operation of considerable delicacy. As rogue agent, former 009, aka Reese Beckett, has come out of the shadows, who is accused of high treason and has been off the grid for over a decade. 009 claims to have held evidence of a conspiracy against the state, which he plans on turning over for a full pardon. However, his only condition is that he'll give it only to John Greenway. M wants eyes everywhere, as she does not trust 009, and he is known to be a master manipulator who thinks many steps ahead. Bond gets his cover story and equipment from Q and heads over to Moneypenny for a debrief on the mission. However, Bond overhears that Greenway doesn't like this operation and believes that 009 is playing everyone for a fool. Greenway's trust issues come from personally knowing 009 and serving together before the program was shut down. The team heads to Slovakia at the World Chess Championship, where 009 will be, and begin their mission. However, due to Greenway's dislike of Bond, he assigned him to the role of chauffeur, and he is left by the parking lot waiting, much to the dismay of Bond. However, while in the parking lot, he notices a man with blonde hair, who is acting a bit suspicious. This raises concerns with Bond, and he begins to follow him. Bond informs Cressida, who tells him to let it go and return to his post. But Bond pushes forward, and eventually discovers that the blonde man is up to something. And as he continues to follow him, Bond meets a woman who seems to be after the same thing he is.
That's right, the maid is picking a lock. Now you've seen everything.
Well, that was close.
Don't get used to it.
James, whatever you think you're doing, stop. You're in over your head.
Yeah, tell me about it.
This is insubordination. Get back to your...
Eventually, Bond runs into Monroe, who tells him that he saw the blonde man head into the dining room. Here, Bond discovers a secret passage that leads to the wine cellar. Monroe informs Bond that he has eyes on the blonde man, and Bond tells him to break protocol and engage, as they cannot let him escape. Monroe is hesitant of this, but Bond applies pressure. Monroe gets angry, and he tells him this is the last time he will help Bond.
No. Hang on, mate. No, breathe. Okay. Breathe. Monroe. Monroe. Cressida, it's Monroe.
Stay down.
Bond fights off the blonde man and discovers a bomb nearby. As he tries to stop it, he is attacked, and it is revealed that there are two blonde men. James Bond fights them off and disarms the bomb. However, he didn't realize there was another bomb, and it goes off. Bond finds Cressida hurt, and Greenway tells him to go after 009, who is making a run for it. James Bond finds a car, and the mysterious woman from earlier gives him a hand. The two pursue 009, and the woman reveals that she works for French intelligence, and her name is Agent Roth. Eventually, they split up, with Bond heading down to a hangar to stop 009 from leaving. Bond chases the plane and jumps on it, and once inside, he takes the plane down and jumps out, catching a nearby parachute and landing safely. The fate of 009 is unknown. We next find Bond at the funeral service for his fallen 00 trainees, including Monroe. Here we find out that 3 of them lost their lives and Cressida was maimed. Bond meets Sir Nicholas Webb, CEO of Webb Industries and creator of Thea, who offers him his condolences and tells him that he sees something special in him. After this, Bond and Greenway are called to M's office, where she informs them that the Slovakia incident has turned into a diplomatic crisis and the fate of the 00 program hangs in the balance, with Secretary Bright looking for someone to take the fall. M informs them that they are being sent to Africa to hunt down 009. However, Greenway doesn't want Bond to come along, but with Greenway injured, he has no choice. Before leaving for Africa, Moneypenny informs Bond that Agent Roth is a 67-year-old retired French intelligence officer, and the woman that helped him in Slovakia still remains a great mystery. She also informs him about the 2 blonde men. They are twins named Nico and Tero Murto. They are 34-year-old mercenaries from Finland, and they are considered extremely dangerous. Now, Bond and Greenway must go to Aleph and locate 009, who seems to have been hiding there for the last decade with the help of Pirate King Bauma, who ruthlessly runs Aleph. However, he has a soft spot for his missing little sister, which will come into play a little bit later. After arriving in Aleph, Bond and Greenway infiltrate an auction and get close to Bauma's right-hand man, and they offer him the position to be king if he tells them the location of 009, which of course he does, and he takes them to 009's boat. Once inside, they find 009 tied to his chair. He has been beaten, tortured, and killed. None of this made sense, but after taking a closer look at his belongings, Bond feels that 009 was trying to tell Greenway something, and this leads them to a nearby ship that has been abandoned. However, before they can head over there, they are captured by Bawa's men, who heard about their little deal. Facing certain death, Greenway tells Bawa that MI6 knows the location of his little sister, and he lets them go. Now, Bond and Greenway head to the abandoned ship, and inside they find a briefcase. They make a run for it as they begin to be pursued by the twins and a mystery man, who blows them up. With the odds against them, Bond and Greenway look to be defeated, but a last-minute intervention by the Pirate King Bauma saves their lives. However, they leave Africa empty-handed as the evidence gathered by 009 was destroyed in the ambush. Once back at MI6, M informs Bond and Greenway that the file on 009 is closed and he will be blamed for everything, as they need a fast win. However, both of them insist that the true mastermind behind the attack on Slovakia is still at large. However, M doesn't want to hear it and tells them to stand down. James Bond drops off Greenway at the pub and heads back to his apartment, which still has all the stuff of Monroe and Cressida. The place now becomes a haunted memory for him. As he enters his room, Bond is ambushed and it is clear that someone wants him dead. Bond narrowly escapes and finds out that the twins are behind the attack. Bond chases one of them but ultimately fails, and he reaches out to Moneypenny to warn her that there is a hit out on him and he must pick up their trail quickly before they disappear again. The hunt for the twins leads Bond to the Webb Industries gala. Inside, Bond pursues Murto into the basement and finally confronts him. This leads to a fight that ends with Murto pierced by a trident. James picks up Murto's earpiece, and it is revealed that Nicholas Webb is behind everything, and he is the one who employed the twins. He also overhears that they are moving on Greenway to take him out. Bond heads back up to the gala to confront Sir Nicholas Webb. However, he runs into the mystery woman once again, and he confronts her about lying to him. Then they are interrupted by a man named Damien, who in conversation reveals that the woman's name is Isola. He offers them both a drink, and once Bond sees Webb, he heads over to confront him. However, Bond begins to feel nausea, and he passes out. When Bond comes to, he realizes his drink was spiked, and Isola and he are both tied to a chair. Damien reveals himself to be the one behind the drugging, and it is revealed that he is the son of Sir Nicholas Webb.
How did you allow her to get this close? And what is he doing here? You know I handle MI6.
They were onto us, and I didn't think that we had time for your back-channeling.
That is precisely the problem. You don't think.
Careful. Careful. You know how I get, Father?
Enough, Damien.
Yes, well, alas. There's no time to backpedal now. The ball is rolling. I have a full strike team on Greenway. He is as good as dead.
Fine. Now, clean up your mess. It needn't have come to this. And I'm truly sorry.
Well, it's only cold-blooded murder. Don't beat yourself up about it.
Isola and Bond manage to escape. However, they are separated once more, and Bond heads to the pub to help Greenway. Once he catches up to the old geezer, Greenway and Bond take a trip to Webb Industries to infiltrate the building and find evidence against Sir Nicholas Webb. Once inside, they try to make it up to Webb's office. However, they cannot get in as it is heavily guarded, but they run into Isola, who helps them inside, and once there, Bond finds out about Damien's history and why the son of Webb is such a loose cannon. Damien has antisocial personality disorder, which could have been caused by the suicide of his mother at 8 years old. Damien blames his father for it, as he believes that he led her to that, and this created this terrible hatred inside Damien, which Sir Nicholas Webb has used to exploit to his benefit. After this, Webb and Damien enter the room, and this leads Bond to go into hiding. Here it is revealed that Damien is being sent to Vietnam to clean up a mess created by Thea. And once they leave, Bond and Greenway infiltrate the Purge to find evidence against Webb.
Okay, what have we got?
Mission reports.
Ours?
Mali 2019. Karachi 2021. The drone strike on Sarazin, the arms dealer.
I thought that was the CIA.
So does the CIA. Bond... These are all MI6 Black Ops based on confirmed Thea data. Some of our biggest intelligence successes in the last decade. But if I'm reading this right, we were working off of false intel every single time.
Thea makes mistakes.
Thea makes mistakes.
And the reason we don't know about it
It's because Webb covers it up. So it looks like every time Thea gets her wires crossed, he dispatches Damien to fix the narrative, to alter crime scenes, plant evidence, frame or eliminate witnesses, correcting the facts to fit the data. And this has been going on all the way back
to London 2014. It was a lie right from the start. There was no mole ring. Thea drew a false conclusion, so Webb made it true. He framed 009 and the others. They never betrayed anyone. You couldn't have known. Greenway. We're out of time.
James Bond. You ever phone ahead?
I know what you did. You lied about everything.
You're not seeing the big picture. It's not your fault. It takes a certain kind of mind.
Oh, no, I get it. You sold out your values for power and profit. Nothing new.
Did you know that every year 1.35 million people are killed in car accidents worldwide? And yet, we just accept it. Fact of life. But if a single driverless car malfunctions, clear the front page.
Fascinating. Your point?
People are short-sighted. They have boundless patience for human stupidity, but zero tolerance for machine error. I'm only paving the way for a brighter future.
Of course, Thea is the future. Except, Nightfall wasn't a single isolated incident. Thea made mistakes again and again, and you let it continue. You failed. Your miracle machine is broken.
Thea is the smartest mind on the planet. It will attain perfection, and when it does, the lies will no longer matter. But just like you and I, Thea learns by doing. To become perfect, it must be used. But MI6 would never have let me use it.
Unless it already was perfect.
You see my predicament?
Oh, I do. And until reality catches up with your lie, Everyone who gets in the way is framed, discredited, or killed.
This lie has cost me everything. We each live with the consequences of our actions. But as you yourself said, we can't do nothing. That's the biggest sin of all.
Enough. You can rationalize it any way you want. You won't change a damn thing.
Oh, I change things all the time. Changed you, John. And as for you, I guess we'll never know.
Bond, step aside. In here. You'll need that. Now, move!
Bond and Greenway narrowly escape, and once they are free, Greenway is too hurt to continue.
Where are you going? We need to finish this. Greenway!
You were right, Bond. I couldn't have known, but I didn't even try. I never even looked.
You're giving up. We can't let him win.
There is no we. I'm out.
Bond meets M in a hidden location, and she tells him that he and Greenway are now rogue operators, after Webb has framed them for breaking into his building and causing mayhem. M says that she must look like she is on his side from the outside, but in reality she is sending Bond on a covert solo operation at the luxury resort in Vietnam to stop Damien from covering up another of Thea's mistakes and to retrieve solid evidence against Sir Nicholas Webb. While at the resort, Bond must protect 3 targets from getting eliminated by Webb. One of these targets is Teresa Lorca, who Bond cozies up next to and later finds himself in her bed. That classic sly dog.
She certainly is.
John?
Drinking alone was never my forte.
Well, I didn't realize you were this thirsty.
Parched, actually. You were freediving.
Yeah, being a marine biologist comes in handy.
Oh, what's your number?
Chasing a 6 at the moment.
6. Very impressive.
People think it's all about the lungs, but it's all in the mind.
A mistake easily made.
So, what can I get you? You seem the kind of guy who knows what he likes. So let me guess, you don't like it too sweet? You don't like it too complicated? You like it straight up?
I've been known to experiment.
Audio, James. Still on. Tea time.
After this brief affair, Bond heads down to the party, being hosted at the resort, while he waits for Damien. However, something has happened to Teresa Lorca, and Damien and the remaining twin has her. Eventually, Bond makes his way to Teresa and saves her, all while defeating Murto, the last twin. However, after beating him, Bond is knocked unconscious by an explosion, and when he comes to, he is tied up and about to be killed by Damien Webb. However, he is saved last minute by none other than Greenway. The two work together to get to Damien, but Greenway is wounded during the chase, and Bond pursues Damien alone. Eventually, Bond gets the upper hand and finally kills Damien. However, Bond finds Greenway critically hurt.
I need you to tell me what to do.
Just sit for a bit. Sit and enjoy the view.
Why did you come back for me? I thought you hated heroics.
Turns out I was wrong about that. You've got heart, Bond. You're just what we need right now. I don't know why I didn't see it before.
Because you're a miserable old bastard.
There is that. Will you do me a favor?
Anything.
Don't let it change you. Don't let it.
Is there anyone I should contact? Greenway. John.
After Bond returns to London, he learns that Sir Nicholas Webb is threatening to cause the biggest security leak in UK's history, unless he is granted an immunity deal, and M alongside MI6 decide to comply, which angers Bond tremendously. However, James Bond deduces that Webb has a second quantum computer named Hyperion, which must hold all the evidence of Thea's mistakes. Bond pleads with Moneypenny to help him, but she doesn't, and warns him that going against M's orders will be considered high treason. He asks Bond to promise her that he won't do anything reckless and to just let it go. But Bond can't, and he infiltrates Q-Lab to get some equipment and leaves MI6, maybe for the final time ever. On his way out, Bond receives a call from Isola, who tells him that she is going to Webb's Antarctica R&D facility to kill Webb, and she offers Bond a ride, which he accepts as he needs to stop Webb once and for all. On their way there, Bond and Isola open up to each other just a little bit.
Vodka martini. Shaken, not stirred.
What's the difference?
I want what I want, James.
What happened to them?
They worked on the Thea project, but couldn't live with the deceit. They didn't know who to trust. Webb was already too big to fail. So they turned to the Americans. Except their plane never made it across the Atlantic. Technical malfunction, according to the FAA. I, of course, knew better.
Very sorry.
I don't need your pity. Just stay out of my way and I'll stay out of yours.
I've upset you. You know, I understand this whole no-strings routine. I was on my own for a long time. The thing is, those strings don't hold you back. They keep you up.
Your career with MI6 might be over, but you have a bright future writing fortune cookies.
I hit a nerve.
You must be quite the marksman. What do you plan to do about it? エコワンラジャー20分に合流します。やっぱり1時間ください。
And after Bond tasted Isola, they made their way to Webb's most private facility, infiltrating it and eventually reaching Webb in Hyperion.
Hello, gorgeous. Okay. Remove the core. Stop the leak.
Mr. Bond. Predictably unpredictable. Have you come for my other son?
Maybe this one you'll actually care about.
Not so fast. Health monitoring device. Like all tech, its purpose can be redirected. Such as dumping every last bit of MI6 data the moment that my heart stops beating.
I don't have to kill you to stop you.
Go on then. Risk it. Not so easy when you have so much to lose, is it? Thought so. Drop it. Kick it away.
Your very own magic mirror. It's clever, I'll give you that. Was overthrowing the government always part of the plan?
A last resort, nothing more. And like a great man once said, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Happy to be of service.
There is no flip side to the world I'm building. You think I'm a fiend. But make no mistake, Bond. The future will be grateful.
What did you do? You gave me your word.
You really should know by now, James. My word means nothing. I've most likely pierced the abdominal aorta. He doesn't have long. I'd keep the old ticker going if I were you.
Whatever happens, stop her. Don't let them have Hyperion.
Your parents' murder. Just another lie.
Oh, what can I say? I know my audience. This is business. Always was. The only reason I let you get this far is because you make for such wonderful distractions. Good luck, James. I really do mean it.
Bond chases Isola and eventually stops her.
Isola! Don't make me.
You won't. Let it go, James. Oh, look at you. Whole house broken. What a waste. They won't take you back, you know? You will rot in a cell and leave nothing behind but a blackened file.
This is Bond. The threat is neutralized. You could use a ride.
+1.
After turning himself in, Bond is charged with high treason and is being questioned by MI6. However, a break-in triggers the cell doors to open, and Isola tells Bond to come with her, but he refuses, as his duty is for England. Bond, with the help of M, tries to stop the intruders. As he is the only one inside, he heads to find Moneypenny, who is attempting to stop whoever broke in from stealing Thea. But once Bond arrives, he finds Damien holding Moneypenny hostage, as he is the one trying to steal Thea to sell it to the highest bidder. Once Damien has his hands on Thea, he stabs Moneypenny and makes a run for it. However, Bond chases after him, and once he catches him, the two fight and Bond decides to sacrifice himself to defeat Damien once and for all.
It's end of the line, James! You have failed! Everyone around you! Your parents! Your mentor! Your friends! Even for all your pluck, you could save a single one! And now you will die. Unknown, unloved, and alone. Not alone!
Don't get used to it.
After this, we find Bond standing over the grave of Greenway, as he officially becomes the legendary 007, and his story is just beginning.
Spies live and die in the dark, Bond. You want medals? Join the Olympics. In case you're wondering, all charges against you have been dropped.
Bright's a reasonable man.
Bright's a survivor. We came to an understanding. I testify that all he's guilty of is keeping bad company. He gets off my back and doubles our budget. Everybody wins. Congratulations. I suppose this makes you 001.
It wouldn't be right. Actually, Mom, I thought since I was the 7th recruit.
Happens to be my lucky number. Just don't tell anyone.
It's not over, you know. Someone pulled me out of that water and made off with Thea. There's only one person it can be.
There's an unseen hand operating in the shadows, playing a game we know nothing about. How that is even possible keeps me awake at night. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to do some digging. 007.
Mom, thought you'd never ask.
Alright, you guys, so that was the story of 007 First Light. And to be honest with you, I think gameplay-wise, this is one of the best games that I've ever played in my entire life. I think it might personally just have some of the most smooth and best gameplay ever. It is honestly a magnificent masterpiece. There wasn't a dull moment in this game. I was intrigued the entire time. I had fun the entire time. I'm so happy that I watched a lot of the James Bond films, or some of the James Bond films before this, to get a better understanding, catch some references, you know, understand the vibe. I didn't attach myself too much to the woman characters or the friend characters because something always happens in the world of Bond. And I don't just kind of want to dismiss them because they hurt, but I understand that this sacrifice and this death and this betrayal is almost part of the story. And I really, really love that. Now, as for Moneypenny, I'm pretty sure she survives. Bond leaves her because Q arrives and helps her, so that's why Bond ends up leaving to go defeat Damien. And as for who Isola works for, I don't know who that could be. One of my biggest, thoughts is that it's probably Spectre, right? It has to be. There's no other organization out there that it could be besides them. It's so shadowy. It's so secretive. The name isn't even mentioned. M is wondering why they have all these resources, how they can get to MI6. It has to be Spectre. And I think maybe they're saving it for the next game or the next game after that. And I think Isola will kind of play a big role in this whole, maybe trilogy of games or 4 games, 5 games, however many games we get of this. But I got a feeling that we are definitely going to be continuing the story. We see James Bond finally in the suit at the end of the game, and he's wearing that classic Sean Connery suit, and I mean, it looks so fucking beautiful, to be honest. So thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. We'll be looking at the lore and other hidden stuff within the story, covering 009, covering the twins, covering Damien, covering Web Industries, all that stuff in future videos. So please stay tuned, and if you enjoyed it, remember to like, subscribe, and comment.